In this video, I would like to talk about what makes a good headphone stand and what to watch out for when looking at headphone stands. Now, I've reviewed several headphone stands in the past in my channel before, including this one that you see here. This is the AudioQuest Perch. So check the links at the top right of this video where I will post links to those. But in this video, let's just talk in general terms about headphone stands. First of all, let's talk about, do you even need a headphone stand? If you see here on the left, I just have headphones sitting on a microfiber cloth, just sitting on the table. You could store your headphones that way and just make sure you put down a microfiber cloth so that, when you put them down, it's protected. You're not damaging the headphones or the table, and you have something soft to lay them on. I would also, if you're storing them this way for a long period of time, maybe put another microfiber cloth over them just to keep them, keep the dust from settling on them. But if you have multiple headphones or something and you just want to store them like this on a shelf or something like that, or on a table, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't hurt the headphones or anything like that to do that. Headphone stands tend to be nice though, because the headphones are presented nicely and just kind of look better, on a stand. So, that's something that you might want to consider. And also, they're easily accessible. So the first thing that I like to look for in a headphone stand is it high enough? And some headphone stands can be adjusted in terms of the height, but the reason why that's important is you don't want it too close to the base or the table, because you need to have room for the cable and your connectors. If it's too close, to the bottom, you're going to be bending the connectors and the cables, and that can actually strain and break them. So is it high enough? That's the first thing that you want to pay attention to. And this particular stand is definitely high enough for these headphones, which are the AudioQuest Night Owl Carbons, and they're also high enough for pretty much any headphone. They're actually one of the higher stands. But I also have my Sony Z1R headphones here, which you can see, and I could put them on just so you can kind of get a sense of that. So you see that you've got that height here. You're not interfering with the connectors or the cables. So that's the first thing. The second thing I like to make sure of on a headphone stand is, are there any sharp edges? Some headphone stands have really sharp edges, and especially if they're metal, right here, or on anywhere on the headband part. And that can actually be bad, because if you're putting your headphones on there a lot, you can end up bumping them and scratching them. Now, this particular headphone stand does have some metal under here, but it doesn't have sharp parts. So let me see if I can show that to you. Just the metal design of it here. See on the bottom edge, you can see this is metal right here. It's just part of this piece, So it does have some metal parts, so you still have to be careful not to contact that. But in general, it doesn't have any sharp, edges that could potentially nick your headphones very easily. The other thing to look for that I kind of like to pay attention to is, can you put the headphones on and take them off with one hand? There are some headphone stands that don't allow you to do that. For instance, the Omega headphone stands, those wood stands, those go in between the ear cups, and you have to kind of go like this, you have to spread out the ear cups and take them out with two hands. It's much easier to get a headphone stand that you can just take on and off like this with one hand. That way you can be on your nightstand, by your bed or whatever. When you're done listening for the night, you can just easily put them on the stand with one hand, and you don't have to fumble with it. Or if you want to listen to them and grab them quickly, you can just take them with one hand and just go like that. So that's another thing to look out for. The other thing to look out for, and I just touched on this, is, does it compress or expand the headband or the ear cups? This is one of the reasons why I don't like those Omega wood headphone stands, because those tend to have the headphones sit on them kind of open like this, and if they're sitting along that long term, you're kind of opening and compressing the headband all the time. You're also compressing the ear pads a lot. So I've seen a lot of headphones, used Odyssey headphones that people sell, that they've used those kind of headstands, those Omega wood headphone stands, and the ear pads are really compressed in. And because those headphone stands actually go in between the ear pads, and they're constantly applying pressure to them and compressing them over time. Whereas these headphones, if you look at these headphones are a couple years old now, and there's no compression on the ear pads at all. Look at them. There's no creasing or anything like that. And I've just used this headphone stand ever since, these headphones were new, just storing them like this. And sometimes I don't listen to these for a long time, for weeks on end, and it's fine. I'm not really seeing any, compression of the ear pads or anything like that. So that's one thing to really look out for. The other consideration, at least for me, is weight. There are some really cheapy headphone stands out there that you can get on Amazon that don't really weigh anything, and those tend to be able to be moved and slide around or topple over really easily on your desk when you're putting headphones on and off of them. If they're really light, this one tends to be fairly heavy and a nice metal build quality. So that's something that you want to be aware of too. The other thing to look at is the part that supports your headphone headband, which is this piece here. It needs to be the right sort of angle. It needs to be kind of curved, and also needs to be wide enough. I've seen a lot of cheap headphone stands on places like Amazon where they have a real narrow headband support, and that can actually end up kind of stretching out or not supporting your headphone headband really well. So that's something to look out for. I mean, I think this one has a really good angle, and you can see here if I put my Sony's back on here, it just generally supports it really well and evenly across the headband quite well. So that's another thing to look out for. I like this angle here, this rounded angle quite a bit, and I like the width of the headband support as well. And then also the material as well here is supportive, but yet not sharp or anything, as I've mentioned before. And then probably like the final thing is just looks, because you're not only going to be storing your headphones on them, but you're also kind of displaying them as well. So you want something that kind of looks cool, and especially if you have multiple headphones and you're going to get multiple headphone stands, you want it to kind of look cool in your space. So you have to kind of like the way that they look. This particular one, again by AudioQuest, I kind of like the way it looks. I mean, it looks sort of basic, but it's got in some ways a Bauhaus sort of design to it, which I sort of like. It's a simple design, but elegant and very functional, and also sort of rugged. Also, one other thing, and this is less important but still important, is pay attention to the bottom of the headphone stand as well, and the weight of it. As I mentioned before, you don't want a real light one that's going to slide around or move around on the desk or topple over. You want it to be pretty bottom heavy. You want a really good pretty good heavy base, so it's not going to topple over. And this one fits that bill pretty nicely. But also pay attention to the bottom. As you notice, this one has like feet on it, so it's not going to damage the table underneath or your desk or a shelf or something like that. Now, if you get a headphone stand that doesn't come with feet or felt or something on the bottom, you can always go to a place like Home Depot or Lowe's and just buy some rubber feet or felt feet, and just adhesive feet, and just stick them on there. But that's something to be aware of as well. So that's pretty much all the things to look for with regards to headphone stands. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you thought it sucked, give it a thumbs down. And if you have any questions or comments or any other tips or tricks on headphone stands, like things other people should look out for, or things that you like or don't like about certain headphone stands, leave it in the comments field for others to see as well. And if I missed anything in this video, let me know as well. But I think I pretty much covered most of the stuff that you should pay attention to with regards to considering headphone stands. I'm someone who's a little bit obsessive about the storage of my stuff, especially headphones. And so these are all the things that I've thought about with regards to headphone stands, but maybe there's something I missed. So if I did miss anything, do let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.